news service for stories about Indigenous communities across the country and around the world. Hear about top concerns facing Native nations. Tribal history, language, and culture is also part of Indigenous life. Check out our headline news service to learn more. Tune in here for National Native News.
Weekdays at 5:55 on KSJE Farmington. KSJE is a listener-supported radio station licensed to San Juan College in Farmington, New Mexico. We're thrilled to be able to offer new, innovative, and unique programming. But we need your help. See all the ways you can support KSJE by going to our website at ksje.com/support. This is 90.9 FM, KSJE, Farmington, New Mexico.
From performers such as Plácido Domingo to composers such as Astor Piazzolla, the Latin contribution to classical music has been extensive. Concierto celebrates the rich diversity of Hispanic classical artists every week, in English and in Spanish. I'm Frank Dominguez. Join me for Concierto.
Every Wednesday night at 8 on KSJE Farmington. This program is supported by MyLabs, patient-ordered testing. San Juan Regional Medical Center is expanding its services to offer low-cost blood screenings year-round. Now offering walk-in convenience to get the blood tests you want when you want them. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, is available at the hospital's laboratory and the Outpatient Diagnostic Center on 30th Street in Farmington. With nearly 20 tests available, there's an option for everyone. MyLabs, patient-ordered testing, a wellness service of San Juan Regional Medical Center. .839 KSJE, you're listening to the Scott Michlin Morning Program. Again, welcome to our viewers who are watching this morning on Facebook and the KSJE YouTube channel. I'm Scott Michlin. Glad to have you along, everyone. Taking a look at the sunrise here from our camera here at San Juan College, looking south towards the college. And as you can see, as things start to clear up, outside right now it is 40 degrees in Farmington, and we are expecting a partly cloudy day today throughout the region. We can talk about the weather forecast here. Partly cloudy, scattered showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast today. 56 for a high in Farmington, 41 with showers continuing tonight. But then things clear up tomorrow, mostly sunny on Wednesday and partly sunny on Thursday, highs each day near 60, and more clouds on Friday with a high of 62. More chances for rain possibly overnight, and also on Saturday with a high of 61 degrees. Joining me here in the studio, members of the New Beginnings organization here in Farmington, who are having an event coming up on Saturday. Melissa Tarazon is here. She is Executive Director of New Beginnings. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
You bet. Also joining us here in the studio is Pete Kinnis. He is the Board President for New Beginnings. And Pete, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Scott. Thanks for having us.
You bet. Thanks for coming in. And you all are having an event, as I mentioned, on Saturday. It is a fundraiser for New Beginnings. And so let's start by talking a little bit about that event. It starts at noon.
Right. And New Beginnings, we're a 501c3 nonprofit agency providing transitional housing and support services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. We started in 1994.
Right. And provides a great service, I know, in the community for women and children who have no other place to go in many cases.
And sometimes men.
And men too. Good point. And so that is going to be happening on Saturday. And so tell us a little bit about this event. You've got it over at 206 North Allen, which is a new kind of co-working space, but also an event space,
right.
And so people can come. It's right by the Civic Center.
It's just right across the Civic Center on the east side.
That's right.
Yeah, so if you turn down Allen Street, just a few blocks down, you'll run into it.
Can't miss it.
From
right,
Maine.
literally across the street, right about like I would say Arrington and Allen, you're
Right.
within walking distance of
Yeah.
where you need to go. So you've got that place booked and have all kinds of events planned on Saturday, don't you?
Yeah, well, it's kind of a blend of Native American and Greek culture stuff. So
You don't see that very often,
no,
that
but,
blend. I like it.
yeah, so we're going to have a lot of actually Greek sweets, baklava, curumbiedes, which are powdered cookies like Mexican wedding cookies, and macarona, which are honey dip cookies, and then we're going to have fry bread, of course. That's our main course.
Nice.
So
Very good. And this is all, is it homemade? Some of it?
we imported the Greek pastries, but it was made fresh.
Nice.
So,
Okay.
yeah, and we've already sampled it. It's great.
Good. That
So-
quality control is important.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
And
So
it's like, this is like my mom's baklava, you know, so this passed the test.
perfect.
Okay.
Very good.
Yeah, and we're going to have some native dancers and a karate exhibit and face painting, some other activities, silent auction, I believe.
Nice. And so folks can kind of come and go anytime between that noon and 4?
Yep.
And just come by and support the event and get some great food, it sounds like.
Right.
And in addition to the Greek food, you've got the fry bread and Navajo tacos, too.
Exactly. Yep.
Very,
So,
very good. And Melissa, let me bring you into the conversation, too, and talk to me a little bit about this event and about New Beginnings. It's a fundraiser for the organization, right?
Yes, New Beginnings is a transitional living program for survivors of domestic violence and sexual assault. Currently, we have 14 residents that are living on campus. Our houses are on site versus a lot of other programs in the state where the houses are kind of out in the community. Ours are all located on campus. They live in individual homes. Right now we have roommates. It's community living,
Right, okay.
based upon need. And what the program does is residents can stay for up to a year. And during that time, we help them to obtain gainful employment. We offer a savings account for them so that by the time they leave the program, they have enough money to rent an apartment or get a house. We help them to put their names on many of the low-income housing lists in town. Also, we help them work with the Navajo Nation Housing Authority. We help them find jobs. We help them with pretty much anything that they need. We have some women who come to us that, for example, don't have driver's license or don't have birth certificates anymore. So we help them get all of those documents together and everything that they need to be able to learn how to live and break that cycle of violence.
Right.
We have groups twice a week on site that provide living skills and domestic violence education groups. And we've recently just partnered with Presbyterian Medical Services. We're doing their child food program now, so we're able to supplement and help the moms with children with milk, eggs, fruit, vegetables, things like that. And here shortly, I hope within the next 30 days, we'll start doing cooking classes with them so that they can learn how to provide healthier, less expensive, sustainable meals for themselves and their kiddos.
Smart, very smart. And all this is part of this big decision that a woman makes, or a man, when they're leaving an abusive relationship and situation and getting out of that house, that apartment, and seeking shelter and really trying to make a new life for themselves and their children. It's really important to have a safe place to go and to get back on their feet, right? To get the employment and jobs and start applying for permanent housing and things like that.
Absolutely. When you think about victims who are leaving abusive situations, having a transitional living program is awesome, because what we have found historically is that many survivors who leave go from shelter to shelter to shelter, because most crisis shelters have a length of stay of about 90 days or so.
Right.
And once they leave that 90-day program, if they don't have all of these things in place, which can be very difficult to do, then they kind of just go from shelter to shelter, whereas with our program, they're able to go and stay for an extended period of time, which then helps them, it kind of, I don't know, it's like insurance, you know?
Sure.
So that when they leave, they have better skills, they're more financially independent. For many of them, obtaining protection orders and being able to have an advocate to go to court with them, those kinds of things can often make the difference between being able to stay away from that abuser and or repeating that abusive cycle.
Sure. And again, to maybe break that cycle, as you mentioned, so that they don't go back into that, or they have a job and they can find a new place to live and they can provide for their family, for their children, if the case may be, or what have you, so that they don't maybe fall back into a more serious problem, I suppose.
Right. Yeah.
Very good. And Pete Kinnis, again, the work of New Beginnings, you've been on the board now for a while, and you can see this firsthand being on the board of the work that's being done every day.
Right. And I was introduced to New Beginnings where my wife and I were working with a couple that they were in domestic abuse situations, and they were having housing problems. So I'm not sure how I stumbled on to New Beginnings, but they were great. They took them in, they did their intake, and they got housing, and so very worthwhile cause. And this, I just wanted to say, this is our first annual fundraiser. So, and we are, right, correct me if I'm wrong, we're the only long-term transitional housing for domestic abuse in the county?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Well, again, and it's important, and a lot of people think for a community our size, we need these types of, unfortunately, we need these types of resources for folks to turn to in times of domestic violence and things like that.
Exactly, yeah.
That's important. And right now, how many folks are you serving at the at New Beginnings at the moment?
14.
14. That's women and children.
Women and children, and we get referrals. We work really closely with Family Crisis Center. We get referrals from San Juan Regional Hospital, from IHS in Shiprock, from other shelters around the Four Corners area, and from areas that are pretty remote on the Navajo Reservation as well.
Very good. And again, they can stay for as long as?
Up to a year. We just discharged one gal who'd been there a little over a year and a half, so it can be negotiable when we need to be.
Right. And again, that's important that they know that they can stay there for that period of time to kind of set everything else up and into motion, right? So they have a place to go once they leave your shelter. They're not back looking for a place to go.
Sure, it gives them that, I think, that mental and emotional security of knowing that they're not going to have to uproot themselves and their kids anytime soon,
right.
And that they're they're in a safe place. Our campus is very well. It has good security.
Right. Okay.
And we have a guard shack that checks people in and out. So I think that in and of itself oftentimes can give, especially new coming program participants, that peace of mind where they can kind of just rest and understand that they're going to be okay.
Right, very true. Well, let's talk again about this event on Saturday that's coming up again from noon until 4 at 206 North Allen in Farmington. An address that means something to me because that's my old house, everybody. If you didn't know, it is. But not anymore. Now it's a great event space, and that's where you will be on Saturday.
Exactly. And if I may, I mentioned this is our first event,
right.
And so we did have a few sponsors.
Please talk, yes.
Peak Compression Services, I'd like to acknowledge them, Citizens Bank, Pepsi Cola Bottling Company, and Hazel's Flowers. Others have contributed, board members have contributed too, so we really appreciate the support we're getting from those sponsors. So.
Right. Well, I think they realize, as we all do, the important work that New Beginnings does in the community, and it's important to keep it going and to provide with the funding that you need to do your mission. So that's important. So again, it is kind of a drop-in event, noon to 4. Plenty of activities. There'll be some face painting, I think I saw, right? And a silent auction as well. And what are the things you have planned on Saturday? The food, of course.
We'll have some native dancers.
Native dancers, good.
And the Aztec Karate Academy is going to put on a little exhibit for us too. So
very good.
Yep.
Okay. And the food, again, it's a little bit Mediterranean, a little bit native, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So, specifically Greek pastries here this time. So
right. Which you don't find very often, I would say, in northwest New Mexico.
Yeah, but if you mention the word baklava, hopefully that'll bring people in.
That should bring people in, especially. That's true. because it's a great treat to have once in a
Yeah.
while. So wonderful. So we
Good.
can find that there on Saturday, again, noon to 4, right across from the Farmington Civic Center. Very good. It is a fundraiser for New Beginnings, a transitional housing for victims of domestic violence, this Saturday, October 13th, at 206 North Allen in Farmington. Thank you both for coming in this morning.
Thank you, Scott. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you both. And I'll be back with more in just a moment here on KSJE.
In 1876, Congress began to negotiate a disputed election.